Hey everyone, Sam from United People's TV, here in the Ball Street studio with Andy Brassell, European football aficionado. Here to look at United's team. Obviously the January transfer window's open, we've had no activity so far. Not really that many rumours either, which is a bit strange for United. But basically what we're going to do is run through our team, and Andy's going to tell me players that he feels could strengthen our team in weak points. And as you can see by looking at the team, this is not really the team we've been using. United have been playing with two holding midfielders, which has been a big criticism of Van Gaal from everyone else. But I really want us to play with one holding midfielder. I feel like it suits the team far better. Mm-hmm. What's your view on it?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think when you've had that problem of moving the ball from this area into this area more, that's been the difficulty really, hasn't it? Bringing Rooney into play, bringing Martial into play. So I think you can lose that extra holder. It's clear that Schneiderlin has to be in there. He has to be the pivot. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's an interesting idea using Schweinsteiger a little bit further forward. If you're being even more adventurous, maybe Mata can play across there as well.
Yeah, to be fair, before we turned the camera on, I was there for about 2 minutes going, do I play Mata there? Because I just feel like Mata's not the best defensively. That's why Van Gaal likes him on the right more than in the middle.
Yeah.
Because in the number 10 role, if he loses the ball, it creates a lot more space to attack into, where if he loses it here, you're still forced to the wing, so you can't really do that much down there. That's why I feel Mata's been used on the wing more. Mm-hmm. Schweinsteiger's worst performance this season actually came against Arsenal. When he played in that position, he was running around, buzzing too much, chasing the ball a little bit too often.
He's much better when he can see the whole game in front of him, isn't he?
Which is maybe why I think if I'm looking at two positions I honestly feel could be improved, it's probably right wing and left centre mid. I'll say three then, and left centre back. What would you say?
Well, I think that's right, and I think that's been one of the major problems really for United this season, and certainly for Wayne Rooney. I think we always talked about how he's better when he's in that striker's role, but he can drop out and have quicker players go past him. Now, I think that perhaps the solution is already in the squad, especially when Luke Shaw comes back. Yeah. I think having Memphis Depay on that side and maybe Martial on the right is something that could work quite well. I think that's a three that could work quite nicely.
I would say I would agree on that. And Memphis was a player who, again, I was considering putting in, but I felt like when Martial first played on the right was against Newcastle, I felt it was a bit of a defensive move from Van Gaal in that it gave a lot more cover on that right-hand side where Newcastle were dangerous. And it also takes the real threat away from Martial of cutting inside, which is, he's made defenders look silly all season.
And he makes himself look like Thierry Henry, which is no bad thing as well.
So, as much as I do, and it's going to be hard fitting that in, but to get the best out of Memphis, you maybe decrease the potential of Martial. I'm not sure how you fit all those in.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I think it will be Martial in the centre and Depay there. But I think if we're looking at that sort of shape being the one that suits United the best, I mean, I think there's an argument that you get someone like Jesus Corona of Porto, a real winger who can properly stretch the game here and drop inside and score goals. An interesting one for me, if we're looking for a younger, more upside version of Mata, I think an interesting one is Bernardo Silva, who will be an absolute star for Portugal at Monaco at the moment. Now, he's really adaptable. He can play in that number 10 role as well, but he's also played on the right-hand side a lot for Monaco, and he's been tested out there with Portugal. Now, he can dribble inside or outside at pace. He's started to use his right foot more, and he's scored a lot of goals last season as well. So I think if you're looking to increase the tempo of what United do, Bernardo's a very interesting one, and at some point, Monaco will need to sell him.
So obviously Bernardo Silva, I mean, as you were saying, he only played one game for Benfica and was bought 15 million euros. I think Portugal kind of sets the trends in terms of their ability to bring players in and sell it for big bucks is great. And you're saying he can move more into the middle, which kind of brings me on to Schweinsteiger. Now, I do feel that he lives better in the Scholes type role and sitting back and letting everyone else do the work. Yeah. And he can see the game.
Latter day Scholes.
Yeah, the latter day. Obviously, Scholes started here, and as he progressed, he went further back. Schweinsteiger's now reaching that point of his career. But is that the best option we can have in left centre mid, or is that a position you feel that United could strengthen in?
Well, funnily enough, someone who has been looked at a lot by Premier League clubs over the last couple of years, and Wenger was absolutely obsessed with him when he was at Guingamp, is this guy here, Giovanni Imbula. at Porto, just joined from Marseille. And Porto have made no bones about the reason that they bought him. They bought him for 20 million euros so they could sell him on for 50 million to a Premier League club a little bit later. The problem is he's struggled to really click. And he's been linked to Stoke this window as well. He should be playing at a bigger club with that, and I mean that with every bit of love for Stoke. But this is a guy who could go to the very top. The great thing about him is he can start in a deeper position and he can dribble and open up space. He's a very, very different type of deep-lying midfielder. So he's very, very tidy on the ball. But the fact that he can keep hold of it and draw players towards him, that he can change pace and that he's really physically strong is what makes Premier League clubs like him so much. I think he would fit very nicely at United indeed.
Well, I'll be honest, I know absolutely nothing about Imbula. I'd love to say that I do, but he's a new. I have seen him linked to Stoke in the window, and I saw that there was quite a surprise reaction at Stoke potentially going forward.
Yeah.
But as you say, Portuguese clubs are shrewd. They can see the profits in players. I like the idea of him being versatile in terms of being able to hold the ball up, but at the same time having an injection of pace, because pace has been the big problem for United this season.
That's the problem, isn't it? Imbula can get the ball here and bring it forward quickly, and that is so important. That lack of transition, United have had no problem holding on to the ball. Making those transitions has been the difficult point, and that's something that he can really address.
I mean, we're going around the pitch here, and we're going down to what I consider probably the main. It's strange. Like, United's defence has technically been the best part of our season, but we've got Daley Blind at left centre back, and he's not a centre back, is he?
Well, you wonder what he is really. You know, he can fill so many positions to a 7.5, 8 out of 10 sort of standard. But United just need that little bit more. Now, I think there are more good centre-backs out there than people think. And we talked in our other videos on the other fan channels with Arsenal Fan TV and 100% Chelsea about the possibility of Marquinhos, Ayman Abdennour of Valencia, either of which I think would be a really good fit. There's another name to add into the mix here, and he's going to be available on a free next summer, and that's Nicolas Nketiah, the Cameroonian centre-back who plays for Marseille. Now, he's someone who any Premier League club should be having a look at. He's just started returning to his best form after a lot of speculation over his future in last summer. At one point, he was better than Thiago Silva in terms of French Ligue 1 defenders. He got rushed back from a knee injury too quickly and he couldn't really cope with it. But now he's got back to where he was. He anticipates very well. He's quick. He's very strong. I think that's something that would work really well. And crucially, he plays most of his games in the left centre-back spot, I should say.
I mean, something that I've really seen with Chris Smalling this year is his ability to bring the ball out here. He's made a lot of those runs, and it makes it's a dimension to a defender's game that not many defenders have.
Yes.
So when they can do it, teams don't really know how to defend it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's an extra player that, but how do you mark him?
That's
right. Open up gaps.
That's right. I mean, Nketiah's comfy on the ball, but he's not someone who's going to bring it all the way forward. I mean, I think both Schneiderlin and Imbula, as I said, can bring the ball forward as well. But if Smalling is doing that and can get caught, Nketiah's got excellent anticipation, so can come across to cover him.
That's just as important.
Yeah,
I mean,
that relationship I think works really well. I mean, it is why initially, say, Mertesacker and Koscielny work really well. You know, the fact that Koscielny's got the pace to cover Mertesacker, and the fact that Mertesacker's got that anticipation if Koscielny's a bit rash.
Yeah, well, you do need that, and I think that's where Blind is probably limited, because he does always anticipate. He will always sit back. He won't really ever be the person going forward. His long balls are fantastic. Those long diagonals are probably the best part of Blind's game.
Yes.
But he's a player who typically stays where he is. I mean, we could probably talk about this all day, because let's be honest, United's squad, as much investment has gone into it, there are still gaping holes. And I think, for me personally, it's that pace on the right wing. We've seen it the last couple of games, how important it is. We play Lingard out there. It's just widened the game, and that is United. And left centre-back, I do think that you've got to build that centre-back partnership. It's the foundation of title-winning teams, if you ask me. It always has been for United, going back to Stam, going back to Vidic and Ferdinand. But as I said, we'll talk about it all day. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Would you like Bernardo Silva, Imbula and Nketiah? Did I say those right?
Perfect.
Get in there. And make sure you subscribe to Ball Street. And also there's a competition. We'll have a link in the description where you can win a Man United Premier League shirt. All you've got to do, follow the link in the description and give us who you think are your top 3 Premier League players this year, and say that United People's TV sent you. Good Good luck.
Well, you could be in with a shout of winning your choice of Premier League shirt.